Hi, I'm Mary Katherine, and welcome to my table. We're going to make strawberries and cream dessert today. It's close to the end of strawberry season here where we are, and before it's over, I just had to get some local fresh strawberries one more time and make this recipe for you today. It is so delicious. It's one of my husband's favorite things, so jump on in and make it with me today. Okay, I know it's 2024 and we have all kinds of recipes online. You're even watching this recipe on YouTube, which is great, but I still love just a good old-fashioned handwritten recipe on a card that somebody gave me. And this is one of those recipes from years ago. And she wrote it down exactly as the recipe called for, but when she made it for us the first time, she changed a few little things about it, and so I've always made it the way that she did. So even what's written on the card is not exactly the way I make it, but it is just such a good recipe. It's simple to make and put together, doesn't take a long time, and if you do it while your strawberries are fresh and local and in season, it's just even more delicious. And I'm going to use my old standby handwritten recipe card for this recipe today. I've already taken about a quart, give or take, of strawberries, and I've washed them, capped them, and I've sliced them. And I'm going to show you how I slice them here. Okay, I just take them and kind of, after I've washed them and capped them, I set them on the side, and I just make some cuts down this way so that when we end up with our slices, they're going to be nice and pretty like this. It's really simple. So that's all in the world I do to these. And I just make 2 or 3 cuts across depending on how big the strawberry is. You want them all fairly uniform size, but they don't have to be exact. We're going to layer them in a dessert, and it's all going to be fine regardless. But I do try to get them somewhat even. Okay, last one. And that's it for our strawberries. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just make our pudding mixture that we're going to layer in this dessert. And we start with 1 can of sweetened condensed milk. So I'm going to get that here in my bowl. And that didn't pop off like it usually does, so I'm going to have to open it with my can opener, which is fine. We'll make it work. All right, now we'll take our sweetened condensed milk and just put it all in this bowl. We're going to add 1.5 cups of cold water. I'm just going to pour that in there together. And then we're going to take 1 small box of instant Jell-O pudding, and I'm using the cheesecake flavor for this today. The original recipe actually called for cream of coconut flavor, and that was delicious in it. I loved that in it. I'm not a huge coconut fan, but it had tiny, tiny little bits of coconut, but it did have that flavor with it, and it was a good combination with the strawberries and the other things that we're gonna layer in this dish. But for some reason, you cannot find that kind of Jell-O pudding anymore. They changed the recipe, and you could still find a coconut cream pudding for a while. And I've not even been able to find that lately. Maybe you can where you are. But anyway, they have not had the right kind of pudding lately. So I've just changed it, and I tried it with the cheesecake, and it's delicious with it too. You know, cheesecake and strawberries is always going to be a good combination. So that's what I use now. And then we're just going to mix this. You just want it to get mixed well. Okay. Okay, and now that we have this mixed, I'm going to stick it in the refrigerator. We want to chill this for about 5 minutes, and that's going to help it set up a little bit like the Jell-O consistency. We want the pudding consistency. So I'm going to stick it in my fridge now. Come back when it's done. Okay, while we're waiting on our pudding mixture to get to just the right consistency, I just want to talk a little bit about what my goal here is at Mary Katherine's table. I want every single recipe that I bring you to be something that's just really good food. I know you hear me say often, this is one of my husband's favorite dishes, this is one of our family's favorite dishes, this is one of my favorite dishes, and those things are all true. There are so many places that you could go and find recipes, and I know that, and I appreciate the fact that you are coming here to Mary Katherine's table. So if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button, and just know that my goal is to bring you really good food with every dish. All right, we've got our pudding mixture out of the fridge now. You see that it's kind of set up. So what we're gonna do now is take just some Cool Whip. You can use whatever brand you like. This is a store brand. You can use the real thing if you want. I've taken about 1/3 of the container out of it, and I put it in a bag, and I'll show you that at the end. We're gonna kind of make the top of our dessert pretty. But the other 2/3, I'm gonna add to the pudding, and we're just gonna fold it in. And it's just gonna give that nice, creamy, light and airy consistency to it. So just get your mixture and then just kind of start folding it in. Okay. That looks like it's folded in pretty well. So now we get to do the fun part. We get to start layering this. And you layer it just kind of like you would a trifle. And so I'm just gonna take my bowl here, and we're gonna use the pudding mixture, and then we're just gonna use some butter cookies. I have used different cookies before. You can use shortbread cookies. You can make your own homemade cookies if you wanted to, but just these simple butter cookies are very delicious in this. So if you can if you can find these at your grocery store, they will work just fine. So we're gonna layer the pudding and the cookies and the strawberries all together. We're gonna do about 2 layers of all of them. So I'm gonna put about half of our pudding down in our bowl. And then I'm gonna switch, and I'm gonna grab some cookies. And I'm just gonna start layering those. Just like this. Okay. Now, I'm gonna take some strawberries. And what I like to do is some of the smaller end pieces, I like to hide where they're not gonna show as much. And so I try to grab those first, and I kind of put them in the center in this middle layer where people won't see them. You're still gonna get a wonderful strawberry taste, but we wanna save the prettiest pieces just to put out on top or around the edges. So that way, if you're gonna serve this to your family for a special occasion, or if you're going to serve this to other people or take it to an event, you just want to put the prettiest part out to show. So now I'm going to take some of the prettier pieces and just go around the edges where they'll show around the sides of the bowl. All right, that's a pretty good layer of strawberries right here. So I'm going to leave it like that. And then I'm going to come back in with another layer of the pudding. This will use up the rest of our pudding. Now I'm going to come in with another layer of the cookies. And depending on how big your bowl is, you may need, more cookies on one layer than another one. This one's kind of graduated, so it does use more on this layer than it did the lower layer. All right. Now I'm going to get some of the prettier pieces and just go around the edge first on this layer. Okay, so we've got a layer of strawberries. And so now what I like to do on the very top, I've got the other part of the Cool Whip that we pulled out. This is about 1/3 of the smaller container. And I'm just going to snip off the corner. I've got this in a piping bag. You could just use a Ziploc bag too. That would work well. And I'm just going to kind of go around like this. And the reason I do this, it just makes it a little bit easier to spread it on top of those strawberries. And I may go back and kind of spread it evenly so that we just have a single layer of Cool Whip on top. In fact, I'm going to try to do that right now. So now let me just kind of go very carefully around the top. And you could get a larger thing of Cool Whip if you wanted to have more Cool Whip on the top, and you wouldn't even need the piping bag. You could just spread it, but this works just fine as well. And this is about all the Cool Whip you really need on the top. Okay, and now that we've got that done, then I've got just a few strawberries, whole strawberries that are pretty, and I'm just going to kind of place them strategically around here like this. And I'm going to get some of our prettier slices, and I'm just going to kind of layer them around in the middle, just kind of like this. And there you have your strawberries and cream dessert. It's really delicious. I hope your family loves it as much as we do. Give it a try while strawberries are in season in your neck of the woods. Thanks so much for joining me today at Mary Catherine's table. I've really enjoyed having you with me. And remember, go out and find somebody who needs a little bit of kindness today and give them some of yours.